Good morning. It's August 2nd. This is To My Liberal Friends. Has Joe Biden been honest about what he knew about his son's business dealings with foreign entities? You all remember that during the 2020 campaign, he called those questions nonsense and denied that his son made any money in China or any other nation. For the past 30 months of the Biden presidency, he has repeatedly said that he never spoke to his son about his business affairs and had no knowledge of them. He's relied on a complicit media to keep such questions and responses out of the news. His spokespeople have denied that he was involved in any way, shape, or form, and repeatedly denied that he ever spoke to Hunter Biden about his business. I think we all know this has been a lie from the outset, and that Joe Biden was aware of what his son was doing in other nations. He was aware that Hunter was raking in millions of dollars simply by using the Biden name. What we do not know at this point is how deep was Joe Biden's involvement, and did he benefit financially from Hunter Biden's business efforts? Now, most reasonable people have to admit that he had to know something. You don't sit on a plane to and from China for hours upon hours and not discuss what was going to happen in China and what did happen. You don't get offered a seat on a Ukrainian energy company board with a salary estimated at $50,000 plus per month with no experience in energy issues and no ability to speak the language unless you're bringing some form of access to the then Vice President of the United States, who was Joe Biden. This may be why Hunter had sufficient funds to rent his father's beach house in Delaware for $50,000 a month. Now, I would challenge anyone to find a property in that beach community that goes for that price. Sounds like a nice way to transfer some cash within the family. Now, Joe Biden denied any knowledge of involvement for years, yet the testimony that has been reported given by Devon Archer, a former business associate of Hunter Biden, gave us an entirely different impression of Joe Biden's involvement. Democrats continue to defend the president, and basically they're saying there's a smoking gun somewhere, but you don't really have the gun. But according to Archer, during a closed-door meeting with House Oversight Committee investigators, Hunter Biden repeatedly put his father on speakerphone calls with foreign business leaders and officials in what can only be described as blatant influence peddling. No, they do not have a recording of Joe Biden saying anything, but at the very least he spoke to them at dinners or meetings, and that suggested that Hunter could deliver him when he needed him. Congressman Dan Goldman, Democrat from New York, gave us an insight into what reality looked like when he commented on this issue last week. During the hearing with the IRS whistleblowers, Goldman admitted that he believed that Joe Biden may have in fact spoken with his father about his business dealings. This may have been a slip of the tongue by Mr. Goldman, but he finally confirmed to the public something they have long believed. Goldman said, quote, Joe Biden came to say hello at the Four Seasons Hotel to a lunch that Hunter Biden was having, end quote, with Chinese energy company executives. He admitted that another associate of Hunter Biden, Rob Walker, that Hunter told his dad that he was trying to start a company with those guys and it might help if Joe Biden stopped by. I want you to think about what that so-called drive-by with Joe Biden was attempted to accomplish. After listening to Devon Archer describe how Hunter put his father on the phone between 20 and 24 times, Goldman dismissed this by saying the Hunter Biden was just only exchanging niceties with these foreign business people and was not actually declaring any business deals or discussing them with them. That was left up to Hunter. Goldman hung his hat, in defense of Joe Biden, on the fact that Archer testified that those actual deals were not discussed at the dinner. So what do you think would happen if ordinary people and U.S. companies, if they engaged in the same activity the Bidens involved themselves in? A few years ago, J.P. Morgan got themselves in a jam for doing basically what the Biden family's been doing. They ended up paying a $200 million fine. What they had done was hire the children of several powerful Chinese government officials who appeared to be unqualified for their positions and kept some on despite poor job performance. In one email, a bank executive discussed how to handle the son in New York and leverage the father in China. And that's exactly what these companies were doing. They were hiring Hunter Biden in order to gain access and influence to his father. The prime example of this was Burisma. In December 2015, Mykola Zlochevsky, the owner of Burisma, and Vladimir Pozharsky, an executive of Burisma, placed constant pressure on Hunter Biden to get help from D.C. regarding the Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin. Shokin was investigating Burisma for corruption. Hunter Biden, along with Zlochevsky and Pozharsky, called D.C. to discuss the matter. Biden, Zlochevsky, and Pozharsky stepped away to make the call. This raised concerns that Hunter Biden was in violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. And this was the exact point that the judge was raising when they tried to sneak a sweetheart deal through last week. There are multiple other instances of Hunter Biden striking deals in China that ended up with him pocketing millions of dollars. And I've not mentioned the references to the big guy in communications, and I think even the most ardent Biden supporter privately would acknowledge that they believe the big guy to be none other than Joe Biden. Finally, today, I would ask anyone who supports Joe Biden and is listening to say with a straight face that they would look the other way if these charges were being leveled against Donald Trump or one of his children. Would you be saying there's no real smoking gun, or would you be demanding accountability? And this is the problem that we are facing. The American public seems to perceive that there's a two-tier system of justice, where the Democrats are defending Biden at all costs, and his Justice Department is covering up for the sins of the father and the son, while at the same time going after Donald Trump with both barrels. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And recommend to your friends. And if you have a comment, please leave them.